Welcome, Peak Performance podcasters. It's been quite some time since I've done my last podcast, and I have a really cool podcast for you guys today. It's for more the fitness gym, more the owner, entrepreneur, and trainer that might have aspirations. It might really learn some really cool things today from our podcast. If you've looked at our website, we have been overdue for a couple of articles. I'm going to ask our community out there if they want to have any specific articles to write about. If you haven't heard, my day-to-day job has changed a bit. I'm working now at a company by the name of Mio Global. Some of the fingerprints are on this next podcast, but it was such a organic and natural reason to do this podcast that I wanted to share with you guys some of the really cool things about what I learned. I'm going to share with you the presenter today is the owner and operator of Cycle and Row. So you're going to hear from her in the following Q&A. This is her website, cycleandrow.com. You'll see just exactly what a class looks like. Yours truly actually did a class.
3, 2, 1, go!
And it's a cycle program followed up, infused with a circuit training program.
You can come and feel like a rock star every day, every class you take. You can have
That's Samantha Kelman, and you'll hear from her shortly.
Paired up with his
It's a
grandmother
mom
in the
and
same class,
daughter
getting a great
business
workout for
partnership.
them, because everything is customized. Everything is low impact, but it's high intensity, so you really get what you want out of it. And it is so much fun. The class
The
is
cool thing here is that we have Samantha Kelman, who actually also participated
I've tried just
in
about
Sweat
every
Inc.
type of workout
and
out there.
we'll find
And I
out
have
next,
to say,
talk
the
about that a
rowing
little bit more
circuit
later.
here ranks at the top.
But that gives you an idea of what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk a little bit about the technology that she uses. We're going to talk about some of the apps that she would recommend, and then what she actually learned at the Sweat Inc. Competition, and a little bit about Jillian Michaels.
Hello, Sam. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Good. How long have you been an operator and a trainer? So when I say operator, gym owner.
I've been an operator since February of this year, but I've been training for years and years prior to that, probably since I graduated college in 2010. I've been teaching spinning classes. I've been doing some personal training. So, yeah, I've been doing this for a few years now.
And can you tell me a little bit about Cycle and Row?
Sure. Cycle and Row was founded by my mom and I. We've always had a dream, really, since I was young, but more of a reality since I graduated college to one day open up a studio together. And we didn't want to do it quickly. We didn't want to do it right away because we wanted to develop something new. We didn't want to just open somebody else's franchise. We wanted to figure something out, something that was missing in the marketplace. And I also wanted to learn a little bit more business expertise, so I have a business background. So I went off to work in New York City to learn from big companies, and all the while, taking every workout class out there, training all different ways, all different series. And my mom and I realized that there really wasn't an answer for a high-intensity workout that was low impact, that was fun, that was innovative, that was changing all the time, that you could do every day. And so we set out to create that ourselves, and so that's what Cycle and Row is.
That's awesome. So for people that are actually hearing the podcast, I took a class, and it was the Cycle and Row aspect, and I actually have some of the workout that I'll share with everyone shortly on a image, just to give you guys that it was high intensity. And then kind of give you guys what the class structure was like. You shared with me some really good news, which is you're going to be launching a new class and kind of taking from certain learning experiences and moving it and kind of evolving it. Can you tell us the name of the new class and kind of the technology and some of the concepts behind it?
Sure, definitely. Yeah, we actually had our launch right after you left us, so that was the kickoff to a really big weekend, and the feedback was overwhelmingly positive. We launched a class called Fuse 45, which we've trademarked, and the purpose of the name is because we like the word fuse because we're fusing different concepts together, cardio and strength in one class. So the objective there is that a lot of people, don't have so much time in their day to take a cardio class and then take a yoga class or then take a strength class. And so we really were looking for efficiency, something where you could get both that cardio and that strength all in one class. So that's where the word fuse comes from. And 45 is because it's a 45-minute class with 45-second intervals. So we're always on for 45 and recovering for 15, and we do this throughout the class, alternating, like I said, between strength and cardio stations. And the technology that we've basically lined ourselves up with are, on the cardio side, we've got the Concept 2 rowers, Concept 2 skiers, and the air assault bikes. Selected these pieces of cardio equipment because they are low impact and they're high intensity, and the coolest part to me is that no time wasted. So from your first pull on the rower, your first pull on the skiers, or your first pedal on that air assault bike, you are going to start feeling that resistance. Whereas if you're on a treadmill, anyone who's been on a treadmill knows that it takes like a good 20 seconds just to find your speed, to get your heart rate up, to really get moving, and these are really instant. And so again, with that efficiency, we realized that there's just no time to waste here, and with a 45-second interval, we want to start that intensity right away. And so the other cool thing about these pieces of machinery are that they're fan wheel based. So as opposed to turning up, in an intensity level or twisting a knob like you've seen on a spin bike, all of the resistance is created by you. So literally, the harder you push, the harder you pull, the harder you pedal, the more you're going to get out of your workout. And I think that's very cool because you can have beginners and all-star athletes on the same piece of equipment getting a great workout for them. And it doesn't look like, oh, well, I'm only on level 2 and you're on level 20 and I feel like a chump. It's like everybody is just working their hardest, and it's all about how much they're putting in. And I think that's a lot of fun and really lends itself to the camaraderie that we try to build in our studio. And basically the strength components are, there's always 3 in a class, and they focus on arms, core, and legs separately. And we did this because we really wanted, instead of, having 3 stations that kind of maybe are more full body, we really wanted a more intensified strength workout. And therefore, by focusing 1 on core, 1 on arms, 1 on legs, you really get that intensity. And some of the equipment that we've aligned ourselves with are the WEC Method RMT Club, the Bose Elite, also by WEC, and TRX. And those are just some of many pieces of functional equipment that we use, but that's really at the core of our business.
So how do you track all this information? How do you provide feedback to your customers when you're doing this new methodology and your old methodology?
Sure. So when we started out in our cycling studio, we were using Performance IQ to track data. And we found that it was highly effective. People were at first a little apprehensive and a little nervous. They don't really like to be compared to other people. But when they realized that they could use it to improve themselves and improve their fitness level, they became addicted, and they really relied on that information to improve themselves each class. And so we wanted to figure out in our rowing circuit class, which is now Fuse 45, how do we give them the same data that they've become accustomed to? And we realized that heart rate monitoring was the answer. But my problem with heart rate monitoring is that I hate the chest strap, and I'm actually traveling for business right now, and I like to take different workout classes when I'm here just to see what's going on in the marketplace. And I took a class using the chest strap, and I was also wearing my wrist-based Mio on my wrist just to kind of cross-check data to see, if the results were different. And they were not. They were exactly in line. But I will say the chest strap is so uncomfortable. And what I hate is that when I'm standing in that lobby and I have to lift up my shirt in front of everybody to get it on, it's just such an awkward experience. And so I'm so thankful that we found Mio, because Mio is a heart rate monitoring device that is every bit as accurate as all the finest chest straps out there. And I can say that with 100% certainty today because I just tested it against the Polar, and it was exactly in line. And it was sitting, and it sits on your wrist. And what's cool about this is that it becomes part of our brand. All of our clients in our studio, they're walking around with their Mio bracelets and they're watching their colors flash before them, and it becomes sort of this, co-marketing, co-branding thing where our clients are Mio wearers, and it's not something that hides behind their shirt. It's something that they wear proudly, and with this, they're getting stats just like they did in the cycle room after every single class. So they can watch their colors on their wrist flash from blue to green to yellow to orange to red as they're increasing their intensity so that they know how they're doing well in class. And then also when they leave class, instantly they get an email with a summary of their stats, and it's something that, they can post, they can share, they can talk about it with their friends, but really it's for them to set a goal for themselves and keep improving from class to class. And it's been awesome.
So it sounds like you provide kind of all aspects of service in the program, which is you give them feedback that's objective. You also allow them to participate, to work hard, but in a safe manner. Throughout this experience, I know personally that you shared with me that you've done recently and participated in a show called Sweat Inc., and it's a Jillian Michaels show. Can you just give us a little bit of a taste of what was your experience, what were some of the things you learned, as well as then if you can just recap your experience of meeting Jillian Michaels as well?
Sure, yeah. I was fortunate enough to represent my company, Cycle and Row, during a reality TV show competition, which is going to air on October 20th. It's called Sweat Inc., as you said. And basically it was a huge learning experience, not just from the standpoint of perfecting the workout, which is hugely important, but also the business side. And, really getting both minds sharp and putting those two pieces together to really come out with the next big fitness phenomenon. And that was my goal on the show, was to prove that I was the next big fitness phenomenon. And I think what I learned, and some of it I've touched on really, is kind of fine-tuning our concept and those intervals, keeping them consistent with 45 seconds on and 15 off. So this is, goes back to that kind of workout philosophy, but also the business side. And the reason for that is we found that 45 seconds on is the most optimal amount of time to be working really hard. So anything above that, if you try to go really hard for 1 minute, lactic acid is going to start to build. You're going to start to slow down because you can't really push your hardest for more than that 45 seconds. And if you go any lower than that, you probably had more in your tank that you could empty. So a 30-second interval or a 20-second Tabata interval, for example, you could go harder. So we've just found, based on our research and outside research, that 45 seconds was the optimal interval time. And so, that's something that Jillian helped me understand. Okay, you've got that, use that. So 45, own it. Make your workout 45 minutes. Make every interval 45 seconds. And that way, it's that branding piece, that business mind. And that's where, Jillian is so awesome, because she's not just a fitness professional, and obviously she is a huge one, a celebrity, but she's also a very sharp business mind. And so she picks up on little things like that. Make that part of your brand. If something works in the studio, great, own it. And another example of that, I think, would be the heart rate monitoring. I mean, that's something that we knew was working in the cycling room, but we never really thought about adding it to the rowing piece or the Fuse 45. And she said, look at what's out there. Look at what's hot right now. Look at Orange Theory Fitness. They've got this marketing pull. They've got this hook to keep people coming back for more. They've got a score. Look at Flywheel. They give you a score at the end of class. Like, what's your marketing hook going to be? And so I thought about this, and I did a lot of research, and I went into it saying, well, I hate the chest strap. I hate that freaking chest strap. So what am I going to do? And that's when I found Mio, and I think that was a huge piece of learning and a great partnership that's going to really help us kind of rise above the competition, because we've got that marketing hook, but in my opinion, we're doing it.
Being a gym owner and having that experience and working with a person who's been very successful like Jillian, sounds like a lot of your learning mnemonics, or your ways that you've learned a lot of your knowledge, is either been by doing. Are there any educational organizations that you get your education from besides school?
Well, school's over for me, but that definitely was a huge help on the business side. But then I would also say that I'm actually working full-time. I'm a marketing manager for a water treatment company, And I've been doing that, for the past 4 years. And while the industries are completely different, I think learnings in almost any business, can be applied. And so I think that the marketing that I do, the business-to-business marketing, the event organization, and this large-scale water treatment company, what I'm learning, what worked there can work here too. And so it's a lot of shared experiences, and it's thinking outside the box, and it's getting different perspectives, and I think that's key. And I think that's why we have such a good team at Fuse 45, Cycle and Row, because working with my mom, who is a fitness professional, she has all the certifications, all the background, the passion for crafting exercises together, etc. I'm more the business mind, but also a passion for working out. And then we've got our husbands involved. So both are business minds, and one more financial and one more accounting. And, those more black and white thinkers are really helpful in the business that's filled with passion, and that's a people industry. And you need all aspects, and you need, to be told to look at things from a different perspective. And so I think that's where we are really lucky, because we're not just two gym junkies who are like, okay, we've got something great, let's try to make money from it. No, we're passionate people about what we do, but we're also business.
Yeah, that sounds great. It also sounds like you're able to work with, being able to work with a parent and also take that responsibility on does present a lot of challenges. And it sounds like you have good harmony with working with your mother, because personally, that's always been a challenge for me to work with family. It's not that it's not doable, but it's quite impressive. Do you feel like it sounds like it's been a great soundboard and good objectivity in your partnership with your mother? What are some other people that have kind of guided you to objective advice in your business today?
So some outside people, I would say a professor that I had in business school has been a great sounding board as we're entering new stages of the business. We actually have a meeting set up next week, and I'm really anxious for his thoughts and direction. We've also spent a lot of time talking to like businesses. So our current studio right now in West Bloomfield, Michigan is strategically located near Yoga Shelter, which is a pretty successful local franchise, which we happen to be friendly with the owners. And they're non-competitive businesses. They're actually quite complementary, so it's been great. And, these are also business people, but also in the fitness industry, who are kind of 10 steps ahead of us, and so it's been great to learn from them. And I would say the other contestants on the Jillian Michaels show, it was incredible to be in the presence of all these entrepreneurs trying to grow and launch their fitness business, to learn from their mistakes, to learn from their successes. I think the learning opportunities here are endless. Everyone we meet, everyone we talk to, whether it's just a consumer or someone who's a proprietor in the industry, they can be helpful in some way. And so we're very humble, and we're always keeping our ears and our eyes open. And I do appreciate what you say about, the challenges of working with family, because I'll have you know, it's not always smooth sailing. It's very difficult, actually, a lot of times, because you have to put your family first, and you have to talk to these people as they are your family before they're your boss or your coworker, and sometimes those lines get really blurred, and then you have to go have a family dinner and, put on a different hat. And so that has been a huge learning experience. But I think that, just more than 6 months in, we're really getting the hang of it, and we're learning to dance around each other's sensitivities and work to our own strengths and help each other with flaws. So it's a work in progress, but no days without its challenges, but I do think that we're improving each day. So I think that's respectable and impressive.
That's quite understood. I always ask every single person that I do this podcast with is, what are some books and phone apps that you use that you would recommend?
Okay, I'm so embarrassed to say that I have not had time to read a book in way too long, and when I do read, it's always fiction. It's something light, or maybe like a murder, not that this is light, but something that is just totally unrelated to what I do, but like something scary, a love story, something like that. I'm like such a chick when it comes to things like that. So don't ask me for book advice because it's just too embarrassing. But I would say that as far as apps go, I'm certainly addicted to Dropbox. I think it's incredible to be able to have every single file that you use at your fingertips so that when, my screen printer needs a new, logo, I can, even if I'm, boarding an airplane, I can send it off to them and not slow production in that way. Or ordering more Mios, I can just, look up my past order and just send a quick note to Gail. So that really helps with just efficiency. I'd say all my social apps are heavily relied upon. I mean, I know these are not so innovative, but truthfully, it's what I do for business is use Facebook and Instagram. I'm not such a pro on Twitter, but it's a work in progress. What else do I have? I'm addicted to my Mio Go, not to plug too much, but can't really handle a workout without it. And then on a personal note, and I haven't been so good about it because I'm traveling, not that that's an excuse, but my FitnessPal to track what I'm eating, because that is, as important as working out is, the eating is half the battle. And, I've learned that at my old age of 27, I can't just eat everything I want to just because I had a good workout. And there was a day where that was the case, and it was a lovely day, but it's over. And so now I have to be more careful about what I'm eating, so I do rely on my FitnessPal to tell me, the nutritional information about things that I'm about to put in my mouth to make sure I don't make any mistakes.
That's cool. Well, thanks again for the opportunity of doing this with you, and I look forward to hopefully doing this in the next couple of months again.
Okay, sounds good, Marcelo. Have a great weekend.